4-digit PIN. Enter, and now we can see. Thank you. Have you ever been to the top of the gateway arch? Have you ever been to the top of the gateway arch? I have, once or twice, I think. If you have, please click yes. If not, please, you can also click no, it's working. Don't forget to continue. Don't forget to submit. And next vote. I have been informed that some of us are closing this page. If you do that, you will encounter a little challenge when the next ballot appears. You will simply have to re-key in your access key. It's an extra step, right? But we encourage you to stay on this page, please, delegates. It will make it very easy for you to get the next ballot. And if this were to happen, please remember that we have our IT specialists on the floor and they can help us. Mr. Chairman, I will hand it back to you, and with your permission, when we end, I would like to make an announcement about the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. But I hand it over to you for this calibration vote. Thank you kindly.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We have a special item to present to you today. So, as you are doing this, we need 1 more minute so we can have the result of the calibration vote.
Mr. Chairman, looks like a good number of people have voted, so we can close that now if you would like.
Yes, please proceed.
Mr. Chairman, it's closed. Results here momentarily.
Okay, most people have not. You can see the result, and we thank you very much for participating in the calibration vote. And Elder Hensley, we have an announcement as well.
Thank you kindly. This pertains to the Constitution and Bylaws Committee. Yesterday, I informed you that this committee is going to meet tomorrow, Tuesday, at 5:15. That is when we finish the business meeting here. That's what I said yesterday, and you heard it properly. However, in hindsight, considering the items that we also need to address for the church manual and the progress that we are making, I beg your indulgence, please. Please, allow us to have the Constitution and Bylaws Committee today at 5:15. This will give us time to study the recommendations you have made and bring back a report tomorrow, because we still have a lot of church manual items. So please, Mr. Chair, I beg the indulgence of the delegates so that we can convene the Constitution and Bylaws Committee today, this afternoon, at 5:15 in room 160. This announcement is for all the members of the committee, as well as those of you who would like to meet with us to make recommendations. But we had already written down all the recommendations that you had made yesterday when these items were presented. Thank you very much, delegates. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. As announced earlier, we have a special presentation for you today about the Witnessing Initiative. So we invite Brother Nelson to come and go to the mic and proceed with that, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy Monday, brothers and sisters. It's good to be with you. My name is Nelson Ernst, and I am serving as the Literature Evangelism Director for Adventist World Radio. And we have an incredible opportunity over the next few days to be witnesses here in St. Louis. And we're just going to talk a little bit about that in the next couple of minutes. But before I get into that, I'd like to share with you a quick story. Back in 2004, when I was in college and doing literature evangelism, I happened to knock on the door of a man named Aaron. As Aaron and I began to talk, he shared with me that he had visited many different churches over his lifetime, but there was just one church that he knew that kept the entire Bible. But the problem was that Aaron couldn't remember the name of this church. So as we were talking, Aaron was trying to think about it, and he was saying, this group, they're called Seventh Day Activists. Well, of course, he meant Seventh-day Adventists, and when I shared with him that I was a Seventh-day Adventist, he brought a great controversy. But the reason I share this story is, are we Seventh-day activists? Are we active? Are we active in spreading the gospel? We are doing God's work here today as we vote. That is true. But friends, when we are outside of the building for the next few days, are we sharing the gospel? Are we being active? Are people going to remember the Seventh-day Adventist Church as being active lights in their community? So, I want to share with you, if you look inside of your delegate backpack, each one of you have been given a packet of literature from Adventist World Radio. This has 20 tracks, which means that you have the opportunity to reach out to 20 people while you're here in St. Louis. And I want to point you in particular to a little card that's on the back. This card has a QR code. This QR code is very special. When you give away your literature and you have a divine appointment here in St. Louis, we want you to scan this QR code, and it is going to enable you to share your testimony, your divine appointment story with us at AWR, so that we can then potentially feature that story to the rest of the world. Secondly, when you scan this QR code, it will also connect you with instructions, different ideas for how you can give away literature while you're here in St. Louis. So I'll leave most of the instruction here, but let me just share one thing. Oftentimes, we get the question, how can I give a piece of literature to somebody? It's intimidating. What do I say? Well, I've been in charge of a literature ministry that has put out approximately 170 million pieces of literature since 2007. And so I've heard many different ideas for how we can give out literature from our own membership. Some of them are very creative. For example, there was a man in the Edmonton Mall in Canada, and he had two of his friends in the mall. They decided to go to the second floor. They stepped out to the edge where they could overlook down to the first floor. The man brought his friends close and he said, "Watch this." He pulled out a tract and he dropped it down to the first floor. As the tract was floating down to the first floor, out from underneath walked a woman who opened her purse. And guess where the tract went? Right inside. The man turned to his friends and he said, "Now, friends, that was a divine appointment." Amen? Now, I'm not recommending that as a method necessarily, but I will tell you, when you give literature directly to people, make sure that you smile, make sure that you hand it to them, and if possible, make sure that you have a short conversation with them before you give them the literature. Now, I'm just going to close with one last short story. Many of us, even though we might know how to give away literature, can be afraid and intimidated. That's not unique. All of us struggle with that. Years ago, there was a woman who was riding a bus. She had her literature with her. She felt a conviction from God to give the tracts to the man who was sitting right next to her. She resisted because it was going to be awkward in her mind. I don't know this person. But as the bus came to a stop, she recognized that if I don't give my piece of literature to this man, I might not ever see him again. So she mustered up all of her courage. She pulled out her tract. She handed it to him, expecting the worst. When the man took it, he looked at her and he said, "Ma'am, this morning I was just praying that God would give me a sign if he didn't want me to commit suicide. And I think that this is it." Friends, that's just the impact of one tract in the life of one person. Imagine tens of thousands given out here in St. Louis over the next few days. And imagine the hundreds of millions of pieces of literature that can go into people's hands all across the globe when we set the example here in St. Louis for the rest of the church. God bless you. Continue to give out those tracts, and we'll look forward to seeing your stories when you scan that QR code.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we moving into our main dish for this morning, which is church manual items. I'm going to invite Elder Gerson Santos to join us. And as he comes, the chair has a plea today. It's important for us to remember that this is not about personal agendas. It's about our shared mission and the values that we all bring to the body, values of humility, patience, and love. So I will like to remind us all to approach the discussion and the meeting session with a heart of love. We are here to consider what's best for the whole body, not just for ourselves. Let us move with collective wisdom, and let's proceed with love, with mutual respect, and a deep sense of shared purpose, because we all have the right to speak. Not just one person or two or three. Everyone has something to say. As the speaker earlier said, let's not try to dominate the process, any single person or delegate, but let's proceed seeking collective wisdom inspired by the Holy Spirit. Thank you for your cooperation with that. So I now turn over to Elder Gerson. May I remind you that we have 29 items in the church manual agenda. We have only covered 4. So please help us to move forward with the agenda. Yes, sir, Elder.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. Good morning, everyone. We are very excited for those items that are coming now, and I want to make sure we have a chance at least to present to you, because this took a long time for us to make it and have this opportunity. The first item that we have to present to you today is number 406 in your agenda. And maybe we use the agenda, the file of the agenda, the way the delegates have. That will be easier for us to follow because this is a new section. So if you look into in your agenda, item 406, the title says membership record. Thank you. That's better. So because it's a large item, if we have the agenda, it's easier for us to follow. So the rationale of this item to be presented to you is that it creates a new section regarding membership record that is separate from the section on transferring members. And you will see that a few paragraphs we are transferring, that's the recommendation, from the section called transferring members and brought to this new section titled membership record and provides more detail on the need for constant redemptive membership review. As you all have heard numerous times, the church is moving forward. We're being somehow successful in reaching out to new people, baptizing on a yearly basis over 1 million people. But however, average half of those, in terms of quantity of those who enter the church, leave. So this is a high concern because we believe, as the way Spiritual Prophets presents, that Jesus would come to save one soul if it's necessary. So we are very concerned about this, and you will see this new section, the focus is about redemptive membership review. So the title says membership record. Pastor Chair, this item is large, and I believe all the delegates had a chance to see it. If with your permission, I'd like to summarize and highlight just a few points.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So you have the first 2 paragraphs about membership record, the importance of that. Churches, congregations should have just one current, regularly updated membership record. The second paragraph talks about the reality of multiple membership records. We need to have just one membership record at the local church. This is only to deal with a situation where additional membership record has inadvertently been recorded. How is that possible? Well, we all know that we live in a constant movement, and people migrate to different places. We have immigrants living in different countries. Sometimes someone goes just for a few months to work, and they don't want to transfer their membership. But if someone permanent move to another country, you expect them to ask transferring their membership. Sometimes the communication between divisions are not that easy, and for some people it happens that they are received as members in the new place, and they still have the record in the former or in the home division. This is what we are referring to. Then you have the next 2, and to solve this, just to conclude that observation, to solve this, we recommend a clear communication between the churches and the divisions involved. And at the end, for any reason, if the member is now receiving the new place, the original place needs to adjust the membership. The next 2 paragraphs that start with membership in the conference church and the conference president, these 2 paragraphs, we are just moving or relocating from page 60 to this new section. So they are not new. We don't anticipate comments on this, but just an observation that these 2 paragraphs are not new. We are just changing the place they are in the church manual. Then you go to the next paragraph, and at the bottom of page 52, it starts with redemptive membership review. And we see a short introduction. Then the next paragraph, a healthy church develops a nurturing plan that equips every member to be involved in disciple making, using their talents and spiritual gifts. We've seen that the lost that we had in our churches primarily are among those who are newly baptized and younger people. So we are very concerned about this. So we, at the local church level, need to have a simple disciple-making process to prevent our young people and newly baptized to prevent that they will eventually leave the church. So then you have the next paragraph, redemptive membership review. How we do this? Well, the description of the recommending process is not here. Remember yesterday I mentioned to you, we deal with the body of the church manual, but we have a specifics how to do redemptive membership review that we are recommending to include in the notes. And this was voted last year at the annual council. So we don't have here on this printed one, because this is the version 2022. In the new edition, 2025, we already had voted how to do redemptive membership review. And you have specific, simple orientation how to do in the church level and the congregational level, which is the most important. And then how can a local field, conference, mission, or section, and the unions, how they can handle and take decisions in administration to consolidate the numbers. So we present a faithful report. We don't want to have numbers that don't exist. And also remember, the purpose of this review, membership review, is redemptive. We want to make sure that we develop a disciple-making process, and we are accountable for each member that are under our responsibility and care. So then you have the explanation about the details about how to develop the redemptive membership review will be in the notes. It's not there yet, as I said, because it was voted recently at annual council. It doesn't make the floor because it will be included in the notes section, not in the main body. I hope this is clear. If not, I can repeat once again. But the idea is to give just general principles to be included in the church manual itself. So the next paragraph is starting with, in the Bible we find words. Again, this is another example. This paragraph is not new. It is coming from page 621 and relocate to the section regarding membership record. Next paragraph. In the unfortunate situation, the members may still be missing and every effort be made. And then we have something new at the end. The clerk should record in the membership record location unknown. This is to be consistent with the previous decision we took yesterday. And then we have resources, and like I mentioned before, the process of redemptive membership review will be on notes number 1, page, at least today will be the location, page 179. So it's not printed yet, because like I said, it will be printed in the new edition, 2025, and it was recommended and approved, was recommended by the Church Manual Committee, and was approved at the Annual Council. That's where the notes are final, and the explanations on changes to the church manual, as I said yesterday, that's the way it is. The notes made to the Annual Council, the Executive Committee of the General Conference, and it's not part of the church manual itself. That's why we call that section notes, and will be at the end of this book. So, Pastor Chair, after this long explanation, I move we accept this recommendation.
Thank you. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. I can see several seconds. Okay, the chair recognizes Delegate Engros Ntahondi from East Central Tanzania Conference, ECD. That's on microphone number 8, please.
Thank you, Pastor Chair, and I thank God for this opportunity. I support the added section about membership records, but with some codifications. The provision provides that names of members will be added or removed on the vote of the church at death or at members' request. Members' records are subject to review by conference of which the local congregation is student. Now, there is a last paragraph which provides the word legal requirements. In my opinion, the words legal requirements are wider than the intended purpose. They may imply privacy in accordance with the laws of a specific state in which the local entity is located. Since the procedure to add or remove names is evolving, we have to be cautious of the weddings which may attract suits in courts of laws. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. The next person in queue is Delegate Ingrid on mic number 1 from Netherlands Union of Churches Conference, TED.
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's a good thing, I think, to have a redemptive membership program, but I have some concerns. When a person requests to become a member, he becomes a member of the World Church first, and then second to the church, his local church. If a member is disfellowshipped by his local church, he is disfellowshipped also from the World Church. So this fellowshipping has far-reaching impact. I think that the local church must not be allowed to disfellowship non-attending members or members whose whereabouts are not known. I move to amend the lines 24-25 as follows: to locate the members, and then the words members may be removed by a vote of the church, to strike that, and that the clerk should record in the membership record missing, location unknown. I think that can be a separate annotation that can also be of benefit to the GC archives. Thank you. I move.
Okay, you heard the motion. Is there a second to that motion, the amendment?
There's IC cards. Yeah, have her restate the.
Okay, I'd see some hands seconding, so I'm going to ask the delegate to please restate the motion clearly, succinctly, so it can be noted properly.
My motion is to strike the words members may be removed by a vote of the church, and to have the sentence read, to locate the members, and the clerk should record in the membership records missing, location unknown.
Okay.
Yeah, ask her the line number.
And the line number again, please, was line number 20. You did state it earlier, so we can. Sister Ingrid, the line number, please.
2425.
Do I have to?
2425. We got it.
Okay.
Okay, it'll take us a second to get.
All right.
To get on the screen, it'll take us a couple of minutes.
We just getting it. Secretariat is typing it here, so we can get that on the screen, so you can see exactly. And we'll have some music while waiting. Okay, you can see the motion to amend on the screen. But just before that, we do have on mic number 4, Brother Paul Ananaba from Ebony Conference, the WAD, on mic number 4 for a point of order.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I wonder why the chair is entertaining this motion. It shouldn't be entertained because it's not underlined. It's not before us. So I am opposed to this motion being entertained by the chair, and I think the chair can be properly guided. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, but the motion is in order. It's a motion to amend, so it is in order. But thank you so much.
Why it's not underlined. Explain why it's not underlined. No, so that's why it's not underlined.
The only reason why it's not underlined is that the entire thing is new. So that's why it's not underlined.
Okay. Next up.
Thank you.
Microphone 5.
Mic number 5. Mic number 5 is Delegate Mandla Sebantwini Luponwana from Southern Africa Union Conference, SPD.
Know your name, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I speak against the motion to amend, and this is the reason. The section that this line falls in deals with a situation where I am baptized in Ngangelizwe Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I subsequently moved to Bloemfontein and transfer my membership to Universitas Seventh-day Adventist Church. And it transpires later on that even though my membership was moved and accepted at Universitas, it still appears in the books of Ngangelizwe Church. And in that instance, you retain my membership in Universitas, which is my most recent church. And then Ngangelizwe, where my membership was, removes me from membership. And then in the records, it will be recorded as being transferred out. When we don't do this, we end up with people with multiple memberships, where their membership appears in different congregations. And it messes up our statistics, it messes up our records. It's a necessary thing to do when we try to correct a situation where one's membership appears on multiple records. So because of that, I speak against the motion to amend it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Now the chair acknowledges Delegate Ebo Loguliscu from New South Wales Conference, SPD, on mic number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, apologies for my voice. I'd like to speak against the motion, the amendment that has been presented. The section is very clear, commencing on line 22. This is just an adjustment exercise. And to leave it as it is will be beneficial for clear records of our church. The member will continue to be recorded in one of the most recent churches. And I don't think this is talking about removing someone from membership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, being local or worldwide. So just to clarify, I'm speaking against the motion because this is a simply adjustment exercise.
Thank you. Now we go to next is mic number. We just had Able. 12. So mic number 12. Delegate Gabriel Augustine from North American Division, NAD.
Thank you, Chair. I'm speaking against the motion. Because I serve as a treasurer for 14 years in the church, reconciliation of membership has always been an issue, where we're holding the membership of an individual who's attending and serving in another church. What that does is it increases our insurance costs and other costs, because keeping a membership actually costs money. So I'm speaking against the motion because we're trying to already reconcile our membership and for people that's actually attending and not for people that is not there. So removing them from the membership helps us to show true membership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker to be recognized is Delegate Deborah Thomas Gill from Bermuda Conference, NAD, mic number 11.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I stand to speak against this particular motion in that the purpose of this section is to remove people from having the membership in multiple places. It's not to disfellowship. And so therefore, this is very critical to ensure that we have the appropriate reflection of where one's membership is.
Thank you so much. We'll take a couple more. Next is on mic number 5, Delegate Burns Sibanda, Southern African Indian Ocean Division, SID.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I call question on the motion.
Okay, question on the motion has been called. It means that if you want to stop discussion on this amendment, you're going to vote yes. If you don't want to stop discussion on the amendment, you're going to vote no. It's not debatable, so we're going to go straight to the vote. We're going to use a voting card. So I just want to make sure those who are online for translation, I just want to make sure that you understand what's going on. But just before, I have a point of order on mic number 2. George Akini from South Queensland's Conference, SPD.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to raise a point of order that I think there's some confusion about which page we are referring to. Some people seem to be speaking to the same lines, 25 to 26, on page 52, which relates to multiple membership records, while the motion to amend was made on the following page.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So we're ready to debate, to vote on the motion to cease debate. All who are in favor of stopping debate on this amendment motion, please raise your card. Thank you. Oppose the same. The motion fails. Passes. The motion to cease debate passes. So we go back now to the main motion to amend, the motion to amend. So if you are, excuse my mind. Now we're back to the motion to amend. We're not having any discussion anymore. So if you are in favor of the motion to amend, you're going to raise your card. But if you oppose, you will vote no. So all who are in favor of the amendment, please raise your card. Okay, thank you. All oppose, now the same sign. Thank you. I guess it's clear.
Motion, and that's the next person on microphone 4 on the main motion.
All right, now we're going back to the main motion that is on the table. And for that, we recognize Delegate Umezuriki from Lagos Mainland Conference, WAD. Mic number 4.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to speak. I want to support the motion in such a way that our membership is very critical to our statistics and to this church. I want to be sure that we do everything, this house do everything necessary to make sure that we don't have duplicity of membership. So in that case, I'm supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is on mic number 2. Chair recognizes Leslie Bauer, South Pacific Division, SPD.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. I actually speak to support the motion, but if you'll allow me, I just have a question for the Chair of the Church Manual Committee, really a point of clarification. I'm referring to lines 24, 25 and 26 on page 53 of the agenda. And I just note that there may be some confusion in respect of line 24, it refers to removal by a vote of the church, whereas line 26 then refers to the individual being designated as missing. I'm just seeking clarification from the chair whether we're proposing removal or designation as missing, and whether those are the same things. And before I end, I just want to acknowledge our very hard-working church clerks at local church level for all of the good work they do in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Pastor Gerson is the secretary of the Church Manual Committee, and he will respond to that.
Pastor Chair, I'm not the chair of the Church Manual Committee. The chair is, and the co-chair, they're sitting right here. But I'll be willing to answer. This is very important. And the question raised is extremely relevant. So I'd like to call your attention again to page 53. And this is, just to clarify it, make sure we are on the same page, right? Page 53, lines 24, 25, 26. We are not discussing here about disfellowship in your church discipline. When you read the whole section, the purpose of this section is regarding membership review in a redemptive approach. I really don't like when I hear churches or committee, church boards meeting to clean the books, because I think this is a terrible expression. We should meet to take care of people. Of course, we don't want to give a false testimony in our reports when we state we have a certain number of members. But the most important issue at stake here is taking care of people. This is the most important thing we are talking about. Regarding membership review, we don't have all the process listed here. As I stated before, it will be in the notes section of the church manual. But there are 5 categories of how to organize the church membership so we can provide an effective pastoral care. If we have a certain percentage of your local church membership active, what we do, we give a word of encouragement, we pray with them, and we try to engage them in ministry according to their gifts. If we have people that are not very active, we try to motivate them to be more active. If you have people like one of the speakers before mentioned that move to another place, the church clerk that has a so important work to do, part of their responsibility is to motivate members to ask their transfer if they move to another area, especially if it's permanently. But we have people in your own area, living in our community, that are not attending church, and some of them are still living according to our biblical principles or not, but they are part of the church and we need to care for them. And we need to provide the kind of ministry that they deserve. That's our responsibility, because yes, we should care for each other. This is our responsibility. Unfortunately, we have seen hundreds of thousands in a yearly base, leaving our ranks. What are you going to do about it? Well, that's why we are including this whole section in the church manual. to foster effective pastoral care. We are not talking about this fellowship or church disciplines here. That's not the purpose of this item. However, at the end of the section, and the lines referred to on page 53, lines 24 to 26, we are referring to this location unknown when, after all the work done by church members and church leaders to find out those missing members, to provide the care they need, but some were never being found. And some of them may be for years, because maybe not even nobody in the local congregation knows who they are. They left so many years ago. So to be consistent with the previous action, we are using this terminology, location unknown, to refer to those who nobody knows where they are, where they moved to. They are not in our community. So this is part of the process of the redemptive membership review. And instead of having hundreds, or in some cases, thousands of people that we don't know where they are, let's work closely to those who are still in our community and provide the effective pastoral care that we need, they deserve, and we have to provide to prevent them to leave totally our fellowship. So, Pastor Chair, this is a long answer to that question, extremely important question, and I believe I express the spirit of the committee when we met and made this recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this explanation. We do have a report that's ready for you from the nominating committee. We're going to proceed with this item that's on the table, and after it's voted, then we will receive that report from the nominating committee. Now, next is mic number 6, Wadekaboka Kilaivwe from South African Indian Ocean Division. Mic number 6, please.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. I'll call the previous question.
Okay, the previous questions has been called. We all have been through that now and know what that means. It means to cease discussion on the items. So it's not debatable, so I'm going to ask you to please get your voting card. If you are in favor of stopping discussion on that item, you're going to vote yes. If you're not in favor, obviously you will vote no. We're taking a few seconds deliberately for those who are listening to translation so they can get it. So if you think we have discussed this enough and you want to stop discussion, please raise your card. Thank you. We can put them down. Oppose, the same sign. Okay, it's carried. So,
Are we going to use Election Buddy for the
no, we have
motion,
to go back.
Election Buddy or card?
Okay, now we're going to vote on the motion that's on the table. If you are in favor, I'm going to invite you to raise your card, voting card, right now. Thank you very much. Oppose, the same sign. The motion carries. The chair is now inviting the chair of the nominating committee and his team to come and present the report of the nominating committee. As they come, we want to thank them for their hard work that they're doing on behalf of the church. Let's go.
Good morning, fellow delegates. We are bringing to you the 6th report from the nominating committee. As you may know, the nominating committee represents the world church, and there are 277 appointed members of the nominating committee. We have been meeting thoughtfully and in prayer to seek God's guidance. And the report we bring this morning is the report of the Associate Secretaries of the General Conference. I would like to invite the Secretary of the Nominating Committee, Pastor Magdiel Perez-Schultz, to present this report.
Thank you once again, Dr. Taylor. We bring to you the Nominating Committee Report number 6. And this time I brought my computer, my paper, and my phone just in case the information is not right. So let me start with the position of General Conference Under Secretary. Pastor Hensley Muruven, the incumbent. Pastor Muruven has been working for the church for more than 25 years. He has served in the Southern Africa Indian Ocean Division as well as the General Conference Secretariat. He's currently serving as the General Conference Under Secretary. For the position of Associate Secretary, we bring the name of Pastor Gerson Santos, incumbent. Pastor Gerson Santos has been working for the church for more than 39 years. He has served in the South and North American Division, and he's currently serving as the Associate Secretary for the General Conference for the past 10 years. The third name that we're bringing to you is for the position of General Conference Adventist Mission Associate Secretary and Director, the name of Pastor Gary Krause, the incumbent. Pastor Gary Krause has been working for the church for more than 39 years. He has served in the South Pacific Division and at the General Conference Office of Global Mission. He's currently serving as the Associate Secretary to the General Conference for the past 20 years. The next name that we're bringing to you is the name of the Associate Secretary and Adventist Volunteer System Coordinator, Pastor Albert Kuhn, incumbent. Pastor Albert Kuhn has been working for the church for more than 29 years. He has served in the South American Division. He has served also in Mongolia in the Northern Pacific Division. He has been in the General Conference for the past 6 years. The next name we're bringing is the name of Associate Secretary for IPRS, International Personnel and Resources System, Mrs. Karen Porter, the incumbent. Mrs. Porter has been working for the church for more than 37 years. She has served in the Euro-Asian Division and the Middle East Union. She is currently serving as the Associate Secretary for the General Conference for the past 14 years. The next name we are bringing as an Associate Secretary of the General Conference is the name of Pastor Selom Sesu, currently serving as the Executive Secretary of the West Central Africa Division. Pastor Sesu has been working for the church for more than 26 years. He has served in the West Central Africa Division, and he is currently, or was currently there, if you vote him, as the Executive Secretary of the division. The next name that we're bringing to you, and the last name of this list, is Associate Secretary for the General Conference, Pastor Alex Ott, currently serving as the Secretary of the Austrian Union of Churches Conference in the Euro-Asian Division. Pastor Ott has been working for the church for more than 20 years. He has served in the Middle East and North Africa Union and Southern Union in Central Asia and the Institute of World Mission at the General Conference. He is currently serving, as we just said, as the Austrian Union of Churches Executive Secretary. Pastor Chair, I move this report.
Okay, the report has been moved. Is there a second? Okay, I see quite a few hands going for second. Okay, the chair acknowledges the delegate on mic number 2, Dr. Daniel Duda.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say that Austrian Union is still in inter-European division.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Okay. I do not see anyone else coming to the mics, so I'm judge that as a sign that you are ready to vote. We're going to use election body for this item, so I'm going to turn it over to Brother Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This will be a 3-minute vote. Election buddy ballot is open. You may begin voting now. Thank you.
We have 1 minute left, 56 seconds. In seconds. Okay, the vote is now closed. We'll wait for the result from Brother Todd.
Okay, vote's closed. It'll be up a second.
Okay, the result will be on the screen soon. There you have it. Say amen.
Pastor Chair, we would like to invite the newly elected Associate Secretaries to join us here on the stage so that we can also greet them.
Okay. Thank you.
And Undersecretary as well.
And they look good. Okay, make sure you get your photos. Thank you so much. Let's give them a hand, everybody. Okay, there is no rest for Brother Santos, no time to celebrate, as I'm going to invite him to come and present to us the next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. Let's move to the next item.
And just before you start, I have someone on mic number 2, Delegate Nicholas Rentanen, Trans-European Division, TED.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to inquire if the login problems with the election body have been solved, and if they have, maybe we could shorten the voting time back to 2 minutes to save time. Thank you.
I'll ask the parliamentarian to address that.
So, shortening the time is something we did last session, and I think can be looked at this time. You, the delegates, are probably the best to tell if we've had login problems. We made a couple of changes, and we have not heard reports. So maybe, Mr. Chairman, we can try 2 minutes next time and see if that happens. We can tell up here how many have voted and what we expect. So, Mr. Chairman, if that's acceptable, I think that is something we could do.
Thank you so much. We'll be watching it, and based on how we see, we may just do that. Thank you so much. Brother Santos.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. So let's see the next item. 406, transferring members. Let's go to the agenda. I think this will be also easier following the agenda. As you see, 406, transferring members. The rationale for this recommendation is because it clarifies the function of church clerks and the process of membership transfer. As it was stated before, local church clerks, they develop an extremely important work for taking care of the flock, to keep the registered and the decisions of church board and business meetings updated. But above all and beyond all the clerical work of the church clerks, they also can provide information that will be indispensable for effective pastoral care. And in this case, this section, transferring members, we have some changes, because remember in the previous action that we remove some paragraphs from this section and we include in the new section that we just voted in the previous action. So the recommendation is to amend the Church Manual, Chapter 7, Membership, pages 57-61, transferring members, and you can see on the screen the first 2 paragraphs are the same. We have a small change, a minor change in the paragraph method, lines 25 to 30, method of granting letters of transfer. The church clerk should encourage those regularly attending his or her church to request a transfer of their membership. Members should apply for their letters of transfer. I think this is very clear, but again, remember, we live in the world today where people are moving constantly, and we want to avoid as much as possible duplicity on their membership, and also we want to have an updated membership list to provide pastoral care. And when I say pastoral care, I'm not talking just about the pastor taking care of the members. I'm talking about we taking care of each other as fellow members. The next paragraph starts on line 32. When the clerk of the granting church receives the request, the clerk brings it to the pastor or elder, who is in turn presents to the board. And then we are adding careful consideration should be given by the granting church and the receiving church to ensure the members in the process of being transferred are living in harmony with the fundamental beliefs or fundamental teachings and related practice of the church. And following the next page, page 55, in the paragraph, letters granted only to those in regular standing. Letters of transfer are granted only to members in regular standing, never to a member under discipline. This is nothing new. You as leaders, we understand that. The pastor, now we are recommending adding the pastor, the first elder, and the church board should carefully consider changes to membership status. Is this transfer, baptism, or profession of faith? Any of these cases. In the case that full consensus is not reached, the pastor, first elder, or the board should request guidance from the conference. And then on the bottom, you can see lines 40 and beyond, to the next page. You see the paragraph, membership in the conference church. It is crossed. We are recommending deletion because this paragraph are now part of the new section that we just voted in the previous action, membership record. Same thing on pages 56. And you have the following 4 paragraphs. They are deleted here because we already include the same content on the previous action. So we are relocating these paragraphs to another section, the new section regarding membership record. Pastor Chair, I move we accept this recommendation.
Thank you so much. Recommendation has been moved. Is there a second? Seconded. Thank you. I have on the mic number 12, Delegate Marit J. Querbis from Central Rhenish Conference, EUD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move to replace the word should with must on page 55, line 29. I grew up in the church, have 2 small children, and yes, I have friends in the church who were abused at my age within the church. It is all the more important to me to use the opportunity here. I hope it is in the right place to add something. I believe that protecting children should be worth it to us to make it mandatory to share information about child abuse. I therefore request this amendment to the motion.
Okay. Restate the line number for us, please.
29, 55.
Is this it, 29? No, we have
Yes,
line.
29.
55.
55, side 55, line 29, must instead should.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure because line 29 in page 55 is not underlined and therefore is not under consideration. But thank you. Okay, we go next to mic number 2 again, Glenda Augustine from North England Conference, TED.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. I speak in support of the motion, but would like to seek some clarity on the wording on lines 33 to 36 on page 54, where it states that careful consideration should be given. Is there a proposal to provide notes or guidance for the granting and receiving churches to ensure a consistent and equitable approach, a global approach that is, to the process of assessing that the transferring members are actually faithful and actually adhering to our practices?
Okay, thank you, Pastor Santos.
Thank you. This is an excellent question, and I believe this is extremely important for us to consider. However, the standards and understanding of procedures are so different for our church around the world. It's not our goal here to have one standard that could be used anywhere in the world, but for those kind of matters, that's why we have the Ministerial Association that provides training, guidance to the pastors that will leading out situations like this. So, Pastor Chair, that's the reason we have a whole office at the church, the Ministerial Association, and also the Minister's Handbook that gives guidance on matters like this.
Thank you. We now go again to mic number 2. Janus Janari Kogerman from the Baltic Union Conference, CED. Mic number 2, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support the first part of this motion, which talks about the church clerk's duties to encourage the transfer of the membership if the member has been moved. But the second and the third motion are something what I would like to speak against of. I speak against of these motions because this creates additional level of discipline in the church, which is not according to the church manual as we know. The church manual, page 69 at the moment, says that there shouldn't be any additional tests of membership, but adding the text in our agenda, page 54, lines 34 to 36, and the next page as well, are creating exactly these additional tests of membership, as we just heard from our Associate Secretary as well. This is something which will rely heavily on the local understandings and won't help to provide a pastoral care and support for those members who have actually moved to another areas already. And when the new church is not able to take care of them, then who is going to provide pastoral support if the membership is not moved? Therefore, I think that this item should be discussed in Church Manual Committee further. I wouldn't like to move to send it back to the committee now because I believe that there is more meaningful discussion, but I will leave that to your hands, Mr. Chair. Also, I would like to point out that on page 55, the bringing in the first elder as one of the additional bodies is something which is not in line with the church manual as it is, because the elders' work are divided according to the spiritual gifts and talents. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a point of order from Delegate Ingrid from Netherlands Union of Churches Conference, TED. Mic number 1.
Chair, help me with this question, please. Is wanting to separate, to split the motion because it's about 2 pages. Is that a point of order? Or do I have to make a motion to separate the 2 pages, the 2 motions?
Yes, ma'am. A separate motion will have to be made because that's not a point of order.
Can I make that motion now then for both of the underlined passages, one on the first passage and one on the second one?
No, we're not able to do that right now when you came in on the point of order queue. So that's possible later, but no, we're not able to do that now.
Okay, then
Thank you. Okay, next. The Santos?
Sure. Thank you, Pastor Chair. I just want to make a brief comment regarding this matter. Well, 2 points were raised. The last one regarding including the elders as a part, along with the pastor and the church board. The reason for that is, as you know, most pastors around the world, they lead church district with several congregations. Not just one church. So it is indispensable that we have at least the first elder on board in accordance with the senior pastor or the district pastor. And the first point raised regarding the line on page 54, the lines 32 to 36, the intention of the committee was not to present another level of discipline, church discipline. It's totally the opposite. We just want to refer back to the local church the power that belongs to the local congregation, because the bottom line is this: who has the power to transfer a member or to receive a new member? It's the local congregation. We're just emphasizing that and saying, listen, if one congregation somewhere is recommending this person to be part of your congregation, it is your responsibility from now on. If you receive them, you must take care of them. So we are emphasizing the need of careful consideration. That's what we are recommending, should be given for both congregations, the one that is granting the transfer and the other who is receiving the new member. And the importance for this is, again, the purpose behind this, to provide effective pastoral care that anyone, every one of us, we deserve. Thank you, Pastor Chair.
Thank you. Next in queue is Brother Jeffrey Masanji, South Pacific Division, SPD.
Hello. Thank you, Pastor Chair, and thank you, Elder Gerson, for the explanation. I also have an issue in line 33 to 36, page 54, with the additional paragraph for several reasons. Number one, in my opinion, that the proposed amendments has been covered by the next page, line 22, on the letters granted only to those in regular standing, because that is the consideration that only to members in regular standing. And there are certain things that they will be included in the letter if there is an issue with the members who are going to be transferred. I think it's the wording as it stands right now, that the members in the process of being transferred are living in harmony with the fundamental teachings and related practice of the church. It's a bit strong, considering that we are looking or handling our members in the spirit of redemption. Even sometimes we go into reclaiming our members. But if we put this wording, I'm afraid that it will allow a discussion that is more deep in terms of the circumstances of the members. And the last thing that I would like to point out, that in some countries we have a privacy regulation that will prevent disclosing some personal information. And when we put this additional paragraph, it may open into that discussion for our members. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Stop right as you were being out of time. That was very good timing. Thank you. Okay, we now go next is mic number 2, Delegate Bradley Kemp, South Pacific Division, SPD, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just seek clarification from Brother Gerson. I refer to page 55, line 25, where it refers to the term full consensus. And I need to understand what's intended by that to assist with my vote. Now, consensus is a general agreement among a group of people. It implies that most, if not all, members of the group agree on a particular decision, opinion, or course of action. It's not necessarily unanimous, but implies a high degree of agreement. Now, the expression used here is not consensus, but full consensus. Now, I take from that what you're intending is 100% agreement in the board or the group making the decision. If that's the case, then the practical implication of that is if you have one person and one person only dissent, then you must go to the conference and get their advice. My question to you is that the intention of what is written here? Is it full, unanimous agreement that this is talking about? What do you mean by full consensus?
Okay, Brother Santos.
Sure. We're talking about the three parties involved.
Mr. Chair, just if I may respond, the wording you have there leaves it open for confusion. I think you need to have another think or look at this, and brains better than mine may need to look at the wording you have here, because I've read it and it really is quite confusing as to how it's going to be practiced. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure he took note. Next speaker we have is on mic number 8, Brother Enrique Gutierrez Gonzalez from the Gulf Mexican Conference, IAD.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to talk in Spanish. Quisiera ver si alguien me pudiera asistir.
Un momento, por favor, necesito un traductor. Somebody to translate, please. And we will set the clock at 3 minutes. Okay? Please proceed. Mic number 3, please. The translator is on mic number 3.
Yes, okay.
So proceed, Brother Enrique.
Gracias. Estoy de acuerdo con la enmienda.
I do agree with the amendment.
Y quisiera hacer una enmienda también.
But I would like to move something else.
En la página 54, línea 34.
In page 54, line 34.
Reestructurarla para quitar la palabra iglesia.
We must remove the word church.
Y agregar la responsabilidad al secretario, al pastor o al secretario o al pastor y el anciano.
And move that responsibility to the secretary, the pastor, or the elder.
La enmienda sería la siguiente.
So the amendment will read as follows.
Se debe tener cuidadosa consideración
We must have a lot of care
por el secretario
for the secretary,
y el cuerpo de ancianos o pastor,
church clerk, elder or pastor,
tanto de la iglesia que envía como de la iglesia que recibe.
from the church that is sending as in the church that is receiving.
Es mi propuesta de enmienda.
That's what I move.
Un momento, por favor. Could you ask him to communicate here with the first down in the front? Would like to get it in writing to facilitate.
Hensley's down there.
Okay. You see Brother Hensley there on the first wall, if you could.
Yeah, was there a second?
So we want to make sure we have the right wording of the amendment so we can properly represent it. So that is an amendment. Where is it? Brother Enrique? I don't know. Yes. Okay. We'll have some music meanwhile.
I don't know where he's. He'll come.
We thank you for your patience and appreciate it. And this is our system. That's how it works. That's a church church at work. So please be patient with us as we continue that way. Okay, we're almost there. Please be patient with us. Okay, you do have on the screen the motion to amend. It was seconded. So I'm going to ask Brother Gerson to say a word before I acknowledge the next delegate.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. Just a brief explanation. I believe the purpose of this paragraph has to be taken into consideration the context of the previous paragraph discussed previously. And I want to remind you of a few things. Number one, of course, there is nothing that is so good that cannot be improved. These are recommendations that can be changed a little bit, tweaked here and there, but this requires a very careful consideration. Number two, we are open for minor revisions, of course, and this body will decide if they want to proceed or not with the recommendations we are bringing. But as much as possible for revisions like this, it's much better if we follow the right procedure, the standard procedure. Remember, the intention of this paragraph is to emphasize that it is church responsibility. It is prerogative of the local church to receive and to transfer members. So that's the church responsibility. Previously, we just spoke about the function of the leaders, the pastor, the first elder, and the church board operate on behalf of the church to organize the agenda for the decisions to be made. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, the body, the church overall, is responsible to receiving and transferring members. So if we change the wording here, it might not be in accord to the general context of the church manual. So we may have to revise other parts. That's my opinion.
Okay. So remember, we are considering the amendment right now. So next, Chair recognizes Delegate Sherry Wimth, GC Delegate at Large. Mic number 10, please.
Brother Chair, I believe I may need to hold my motion because we have a motion to amend already.
Thank you. All right, next is mic number 5, Brother David Daka from Southern African Indian Ocean Division.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wish to speak on the main motion and not the amendment.
Thank you. So next speaker on the amendment is mic number 2, Nicholas Ratanen, Trans-European Division.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I speak against the motion. I think this is an example of why we don't do big edits on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
If you just read the text, it starts by listing clerk, church pastor, or first elder of the granting church, but then it goes on clerk, pastor, and first elder of the receiving church. I don't think it's intentional, and yeah, just to prove the point, we should consider this in the church manual committee, but not accept it here as a motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is mic number 7, Magililo Mwakalonje, Northern Tanzania Union Conference, ECD. Mic number 7, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I also speak against the amendment to the motion. I'll be more comfortable if the consideration is done by the church structure instead of just leaving it to the church clerk or the names that have been mentioned. And I agree with the previous speaker. I think it's very dangerous to do this kind of adjustments here on the floor. We can easily do some mistakes like the one I've just mentioned. So I speak against the amendment, Chair.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mic number 12. The chair acknowledges John Chris from Illinois Conference NADE.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had prayed my whole time here that I would not go to the mic. But there is a concern I have with this wording as one who has pastored for 27 years in the local church. When you take a literal reading of this amendment, to read that the fundamental teachings and related practices of the church are now a point of membership, we have expanded membership way beyond what we have already agreed upon as a world church. That our membership is tied also to fundamental beliefs. With that language, teachings can be interpreted any number of ways in a local context. And then when you add the language of related practices, that is so subject to subjectivity in the local field that we will have created a multiple type of church around the world where we won't even know what we believe anymore. So, Mr. Chair, I am adamantly opposed to this amendment for that reason.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we have a few more people in queue. The chair feels that quite a bit has been said about this amendment, but we'll follow the process. Mic number 9, Brother Seth Uruba.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. With regards to being in regular standing or living to the fundamental teachings of the church, every member prior to baptism took a vow. And that vow is to live according to the 28 fundamental beliefs of the church. And therefore, it is in order to say that members wishing to be transferred should be living in accordance with the fundamental teaching of the church. I speak against the proposed amendment to the motion. It is a bit convoluted in the addition to the text, and the intent of the motion is already preserved herein in the motion. Thank you, Chair. I call to question. I so move.
Okay. The previous question has been called on this amendment. So you know what this means by now. It's a motion to stop discussion on the amendment. It's not debatable, so I'm going to ask, I'm slowing down for those translating. If you are in favor of stopping debate, it means you want to, you feel that we have talked enough about this amendment, so, and we want to move on. If you're in favor of the motion to stop debating, please raise your card. Thank you. You can put them down. Those opposed, the same sign. Motion to cease debate carries. Now that will take us back to the main motion on the table, but just before that, someone is on mic 11 with a point of order. Delegate Alfred Soare.
Brother Chair, thank you. Although I agree with what the previous brother said, I think it's not a good practice to comment and with the last words to call the question. This is not a good practice, although it's a lot.
My brother, excuse me, but with love, I need to say that's not a point of order. Thank you so much. Now we go back to our main motion. And I think we had a couple more people in queue. Now we... Okay, so now we voted to stop discussion. So now we're going to vote on the amendment itself that we stop this discussing. So that's what we're back to now. So if you are in favor of the amendment itself, you're going to vote yes. But if you are not in favor of the amendment that we just stopped discussing, you're going to vote no. We're on the amendment now. We want to make sure everyone is clear. The vote is on the amendment that the brother Enrique, I believe was the name, made. Okay? So if you are in favor for the amendment, I invite you to raise your voting card now. Okay. I see about 2. If you are against, please raise your voting card now. Thank you. The motion fails, the amendment. Okay, so now we are back to the main motion that was presented, and the next speaker in queue for that was Delegate Norbert Zenz from the Inter-European Division, EUD. Mic number 12, please.
Thank you, Brother Chair. My comment will refer to page 55 and the lines 23 to 26. Brother Chair, I believe, while I understand the intent of this change, I believe it can be misunderstood also. When now, I think generally issues of membership, transfer or baptism is an issue of the local church. While here in this text it may say that, or it could be understood the way that if a full consensus on the issue of membership status and then its transfer, baptism, and profession of faith cannot be reached, then they should seek guidance or request guidance from the conference. I believe this is not a good way to go, because the issue of membership, baptism, transfer is an issue of the local church, and it stays there. In addition, I believe it may even overload the conference if now all issues regarding this matter of membership status would now suddenly be referred to the conference. I think the local church should and has to deal with that, and I think they can always seek counsel, that's clear, but now that it would be up to the conference to give guidance on that, I think that is not a good practice. So therefore, I would move that we delete these lines that are supposed to be changed between lines 23 and 26. I move.
Take a second to get on the screen.
I was making sure that's germane. Okay, so that was a motion to actually amend. Is there a second? Okay, I see two show of hands. Okay, so we're going to go on the new queue now. Is there any comment on this new motion to amend? We will put it in the screen for you as soon as possible. So now,
just Mr. Chairman, if I can, right now scanning is disabled. If you wish to speak, just stand there. That's because we've got to save the old queue and then load the new one. That takes a couple seconds. So if you're at the microphone or if you're wanting to scan in on the amendment, the new amendment, just wait until the queue station allows you to scan in, and we'll just have to take care of this issue. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, if you want to speak to this new amendment, you can scan in now. We're not asking you or forcing you to. That's if you want to. Mic number 10. Mic number 10, please. Sherry Wen from GC Delegate at Large.
Brother Chair, I vote in favor of this amendment, as I was going to make the same motion. I believe that this sentence being removed can leave the authority of voting at the local church.
Thank you. Next is mic number 9, Delegate Clinton Whalen, GC.
Thank you, Brother Chairman. I think the main confusion is the second sentence of this paragraph that's in question. And so I would move a division of this amendment so that we could vote on these two sentences separately.
By rules.
The reason is
go
that
ahead, sir. Proceed.
the reason is that the first sentence I agree with, but the second sentence is really, I think, the main source of confusion, and that could be deleted.
Okay, I am told that the motion to amend this is in order. Yes, I'm going to ask Brother Todd to explain this a little bit.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a motion to amend the amendment. This is in order under our rules. However, we don't do it a lot, and we get to follow the rules very carefully. So, the amendment is to delete all of those lines, which is on the motion, is on the screen. If you accept this amendment to the amendment, you would only get rid of the last lines, and we will put that up on the screen. So this is the amendment, and we will now put up there a motion to amend this amendment. And we're going to have some music while we do that, but understand if that passes, then we will have to then vote the amendment, and then we go back to the main motion. So give us a second while we get that ready, Mr. Chairman. So thank you.
It's some good music. Okay, you have the motion to amend the amendment on the screen, but just before, there are a couple of people who want to speak to it, but just before, I'd like to acknowledge the delegate Janus Janeri Kogerman from the Baltic Union Conference on mic number 2, please. Mic number 2.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I do have a point of order regarding the procedure based on our rules of order, page 14, which talks about the amendment to amendment and the way out of it. We have heard already quite a lot of things about what should be amended or what should be discussed, and I would quote from our rules of order. At a general conference session or any other meeting where time allows, a motion to amend may be referred to a standing committee for consideration if that committee will meet before the meeting adjourns. And this is exactly the case where we are. And based on the discussion what we already have, I believe that this would be a good call for you to make, to refer it back to the committee without trying to amend amendments on the floor before going to the main motion. Thank you.
I hate to say it, but my brother, that's not really a point of order. Thank you so much. Okay, now we have people, delegates addressing the amendment to the amendment, as you have it on the screen. So the chair recognizes Luis Otavio Martins Piazzi on mic number 4, please.
Bom dia e muito obrigado pela oportunidade.
Good morning and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Esta parte é uma parte que está dentro do contexto de transferência de membros.
We find this part in the context of member transfers.
E aqui é mencionado que o cuidado deve acontecer quando se menciona mudança de status de membros.
And it says here that we need to be very careful when we talk about the status of the members.
E entre parênteses está mencionado 3 coisas: transferências, batismos e profissão de fé.
And between parentheses we have 3 things: baptisms, transfers and profession of faith.
Para nós, já temos no manual da igreja regulamentado os passos para a profissão de fé e para batismos.
In our church manual, we already have these rules and regulations for baptism and profession of faith.
Não é interessante que nós incluamos aqui para um processo de avaliação adicional falar da avaliação do status de membros, batismo e profissão de fé num capítulo onde se fala sobre transferência de membros.
Would be interesting maybe to have a separate chapter talking, because we already have the rules talking about baptism and profession of faith, and also include that separate chapter for transfers.
Isso seria como criar um passo a mais. Isso seria como incluir mais um processo para dentro do contexto de alcance de pessoas.
That would be actually to add one more step to create a new process in order to reach people.
Portanto, em minha particular opinião,
therefore, in my opinion,
estas 2 palavras, transferência, duas palavras, batismo e profissão de fé, não deveriam estar dentro do contexto da avaliação das transferências de membros.
The words baptism and profession of faith should not be in the same place with transfers.
No entanto, considero que para a transferência, um grupo maior de pessoas pode sim trazer segurança para a igreja.
But I consider that in the case of a transfer, a bigger number of people would get a little bit more assurance in this process.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next person in queue speaking to the amendment is on mic number 1, Sister Ingrid from Netherlands Union of Churches Conference, TED.
We are talking about the erasing of that sentence. To me, if the board decides on grounds of valid objections from members that the transferee requires discipline, it must refer him back to the departing church to conduct its due diligence. The conference must never be involved, for we are not members of the conference office. I support this erasement of those sentence words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have 2 more in queue for they say there are even more. So the next delegate to be recognized is on mic number 5, Mandlase Bantwini Lupondwana, please.
Thank you, Chair. I speak in favor of the amendment to the amendment. Firstly, because the local church has final authority and responsibility on membership, and I think let's try and keep it there. Secondly, I think the amendment inadvertently introduced the concept of consensus. Generally, when we vote in our churches, whether we are voting membership in or out, we don't really go for consensus. In other words, if you have your sufficient majority, that's it. And I think it was inadvertent. I don't think they really intended to change the requirement there to consensus. And thirdly, the sentence that's being removed says that when there is no consensus, it appears as though any one of the 3 can then seek guidance. It could either be the pastor or the elder or the church board. I don't think they intended it that way. They simply probably intended for guidance to be sought. And the guidance whoever would speak to the conference would be speaking on behalf of the church. But the way it is now, you could, any one of the 3 could end up acting independently of the other. I think that what the committee had in mind was a situation where all is well and all of them work together. But sometimes that's not always the case. So it's wise to just be clear that the counsel that's going to be sought is not going to be sought by one of 3. So, but if we remove it, it does not take away the responsibility to seek guidance, because you don't need to legislate how you seek guidance. But if we leave the taking care of this matter to the local church and try to avoid bringing the conference, I think it would be helpful. It would inundate a conference with a lot of requests. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, brother, now we on go. Mic number 9, Gonzalo Pita from DC Delegate at Large.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I resonate with the comments of the previous brother. My understanding of the second line was that if the consent, it was a help. If there is no consensus, for instance, because there is a lack of information, then church officials can request guidance, but requesting guidance is not the same as delegating the decision to the conference. It's basically due diligence. The decision remains at the church. And so this could potentially help and avoid conflict at the local church. But I resonate with the previous brother that this could inundate the conference with a lot of questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a point of order on mic number 4. Brother Daniel Wesley Rodriguez. Mic number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to call previous question. I move.
Thank
please.
you, but it's not a point of order that you cannot do that under this cover. Thank you, sir. Okay, next in the line is Brother Paul Ananaba. Mic number 4, please, from Ebony Conference, WAD.
Mr. Chair, I reaffirm that issues bordering on this amendment are local church issues that should remain at the local churches. And I support that an amendment should be made to remove the concept of consensus. The concept of consensus will continue to cause more problems at the local church levels. For those of us who are local church elders and first elders will understand. Many times there will be battles between the church pastor and the first elder as to some of these issues. So if we leave it, if we delete and then return to that the pastor, the first elder and church pastor should carefully consider changes, it breeds teamwork. So nobody will say, well, if I object, it's as if you are bringing veto into it. I say I wouldn't agree, and everybody, good argument goes away. So I support this amendment, and I also say that we should be mindful of going towards the conference every time, because the conference may be very far away. In some conferences, it covers a whole country, and everybody pushes towards the conference and overload them. I support this motion, and I urge delegates to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next delegate in queue is acknowledged by the chair at mic number 3, Delegate Joe Pascuas Dusan. Mic number 3, please.
That's not my name. I am Teddy Yeruba.
Okay, and that's further down. That's coming up then. That's mic number 9. Okay, it's mic number 9? Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am considering the motion to amend the amendment where it is written, the pastor, the first elder, and the church board should carefully consider changes to membership status, transfer, baptism, and profession of faith. I consider to suggest that it should be read this: the pastor, the first elder, and the church board should suggest to the local church to consider the changes to membership, because the changes to membership is a status to the local church and not for pastor, elders, or church board. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we go to mic number 8 from East Central African Division, Sarafina Sikwata. Mic number. Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Pastor Chair. I'm a little bit confused, though I'll give my contribution, because I was supporting the amendment that we get rid of the whole statement. And the amendment to the amendment is suggesting we keep the first part, which is in contradiction with the first motion that we passed, where we were to use the church, like the granting church and the receiving church, instead of mentioning the officers. So when we still maintain in this second paragraph, that is line 23, the individuals, and mention the pastor, the first elder, and the church board, it contradicts with the spirit that we had used on page 54, line 33. Careful consideration should be given by the granting church and the receiving church. I therefore oppose this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have quite a few speakers still in queue for the amendment to the amendment. So the chair is appealing to you if your position has already been stated. You are not obligated to restate it. Amen? So we now go to mic number 11, Stephen Sepp from the Austria Union of Churches Conference. Thank you, EUD.
Pastor Chair, I want to help you. I call for the previous question. I move.
Amen. Okay, previous question has been called, meaning that we stop discussion, this amendment to amendment. So if you're in agreement to that, and we're going to use our voting card. So I'm going to, if you're in favor of stopping discussion on this, please raise your yellow voting card. Thank you so much. Put them down. Oppose, the same. Okay, it's carried. The amendment. That was a second level amendment, meaning an amendment to the amendment. So now we're going back to the amendment itself. So to vote, we have to vote on it right now. Vote on the, so we just voted to stop discussion on the amendment to the amendment. So now we're not discussing anymore, so we're going back to the amendment to vote it. If you are in favor, I have a couple more people. There's someone for the point of order, so I'd like to recognize before proceeding. That's on mic number 8, please. Elizabeth Nunez Aveduta from the Metropolitan Mexican Conference.
Thank you, and I don't know if you can hear me.
Mic number 8. Yes, please.
Okay. I just want to say it very humbly and very respectfully. But you mentioned that we have an agenda of around 29 points. And I am a little bit stressed and concerned that we are taking too long in 2 or 3 points. And by the end of the week, we are going to be very pressed with following up and ending the agenda. I don't know if this is a motion of order, but I am concerned with the timing we are taking.
Your point is very well taken, and so the chair is pleading with the body to think about that. Also, let's move expeditiously and as fast as we can while we follow the process and give people the right to address items. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay? But I appreciate that, my sister. Now we're going back to vote on the amendment to the amendment. Okay? So if you are in favor, again, we're voting on the amendment to the amendment, the second level. Okay? So if you are in favor of the amendment to the amendment as seen, I'm going to invite you to raise your yellow card. All right, thank you. If you oppose, the same sign, raise your yellow card. I think it fails. I think it fails. Thank you so much. But again, this is our process. We follow our process as a church body. So now we're going to mic number 9. So now remember, now we're back to the amendment. Okay, that's the amendment, the first one we had, the first amendment. So the chair recognizes Delegate Kimberly Ferreira from Andrews University, GC.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I hope that I'm correct that the amendment is to strike those 2 lines. And I stand in support of striking those 2 lines, partially because I have concern with the fact that the parentheses includes transfer, baptism, and profession of faith, even though this section is only talking about transfer of membership, and also the full consensus wording in there. And I also would, at the same time, like to acknowledge my sister who expressed concern about abuse and wondering if the, excuse me, Mr. Gerson, I don't know if you're the secretary or what your role is, could speak to, was the intention that that would provide an avenue for preventing abusers from transferring to one church or the other?
Brother Santos?
Thank you, Pastor Chair. Regarding the question of the speaker, this could be one case. It's not the only one, and this is probably one of the most, the highest concerns we have, but definitely not the only one. You may have other cases where different issues, lifestyle, that could jeopardize our congregation, or maybe the church that is transferring the member is not aware. It could be many different cases. We are not referring here to a specific case. This was inserted to highlight the importance of the local church to follow a due process for any kind of changing of status that is responsibility of the church as a body, not only to receive through baptism, profession of faith, or transfer. Even though it's in the section listed as transfer membership, but we are very concerned, and this is the reason this paragraph was placed there, to highlight the importance of the local church being responsible and following a due process to the best of their knowledge, and being very careful as they transfer or receive new members.
Thank you. Okay, we have, let's say 2, 5. Now we go into mic number 5. Mandlase Bantwini from South African Union Conference, Southern African Union Conference, SID.
Chair, I call previous question.
Okay, previous question has been called. You're used to that term by now. So that means we're going to stop debating this amendment. So again, same exercise. If you are in favor of that, so in other words, we stop talking about this one. So I'm going to ask you to raise your yellow cards. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oppose the same signs. Okay? Now we go and put in. Okay? Just before, there is a point of order that's just been entered in. That's from Delegate Ingrid from Netherlands Union of Churches Conference. Please, that's mic number 1.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. There was a motion to strike both sentences. What are we voting on now? To strike both sentences, because there was first a motion to strike the whole passage, line 24 until 26. Then there was a brother who had a motion to split the passage and to erase the first part. And now we have what motion is now on the floor? To erase both, the whole passage?
Thank you. I appreciate that. That will bring clarification to the body. So what we're voting on now is the amendment as it is on the screen. Thank you for that motion not a motion, but statement to help us clarify what's going on. It can get confusing, amendment to amendment to amendment. So, okay, what we're voting on now, it's what on the screen. Okay, we're going to again use our voting card. If you are in favor of this amendment, this motion, I'm going to invite you to please raise your voting card. Okay, thank you. All oppose the same sign. Hey, that's tough. We're going to have to use election body for this one because it's very close. Okay, so we're going to open election body for this one because it was not clear enough for the chair. So Good.
Mr. Chairman, we're just getting the EB vote up. It is open, and you may vote now.
Thank you.
In fact,
52 seconds left. Twenty-three seconds.
Mr. Chairman, if I can suggest maybe 30 more seconds. We tried the 2 minutes instead of 3, but there's still a handful of people voting, so just a little bit more grace, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I think we can close now if you would like.
Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the ballot is closed. We'll have the results here momentarily.
Okay. The motion passes. You can see the numbers. Thank you. Now we're going back to the main motion. As amended, the main motion has been amended. So now we're going back to it. And then therefore we're going back to the queue. Those who were in line or in the queue to address the main motion, we're going back to them. Okay? I just want to make sure, I know now you're thinking about food, so I just want to make sure everyone is clear. So we're going back to the main motion as amended. All right? But we have the next person I have in it's mic number 11, Delegate Leroy from Texaco Conference, NAD. Mic number 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we have discussed this issue enough. Move previous question.
Okay. I feel like I don't need to explain that term anymore, that we all understand what that means. The delegate feels that we have discussed it, so the motion is to stop discussion on this matter. If you are in favor of that, please raise your yellow voting card. Okay. Thank you. Oppose, the same sign. Okay, the motion passes. So now we're going to the main motion as amended for a vote. If you are in favor of the motion as amended, I'm going to invite you to please raise your yellow card. Okay, thank you so much. Oppose, the same sign. Okay, motion passes. Amen. So we have, yes, let's thank God for it. We now, I did not want to go and to rob you of too many minutes from your lunchtime. So we are about to bring this to a close, this session, this business session, but just before, Brother Gary has an announcement for us today.
Thank you, Pastor Pierre. We have an announcement from session management, and that is if you have any lost items, including cash, please go to room 121. Apparently there are many items, so please go to room 121 to see if your lost items are there.
Okay, will you please stand with us as we pray? Lord, we thank you for having this morning, and as we go to the rest of the day and the rest of the session, we pray that your Spirit will continue to be with us, to guide the proceedings, so that everything that is done and said will be for the glory of your name and for the good of your church. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.